So this last video of this whole series will be the importance of wills and lasting power of attorney. So this video going to be a very long one because it's really a lot of content in this one, and it's really very important, especially if you want to leave more money for your beneficiaries. All right. So of all these, right, first story here that I have is this very successful lawyer, okay? He's only 54 years old. He's a law firm partner with 1 million annual salary minimum, all right? And he owns, one property, which is semi-D on loan, all right? And his insurance is actually $8 million sum assured, okay? Quite high because his salary is really very high, right? And one day, unfortunately, he got stroked and then he contracted dementia, unfortunately. So insurance can claim this stroke, okay? However, the insurance cannot pay his family out or cannot pay him out because of dementia, right? Because of dementia, his bank account and his investments, every single financial asset becomes frozen, right? He's unable to touch it. His family is unable to touch it. So you see, his wife, okay, is not really working. She's a housewife. She thinks that she probably can enjoy the rest of her life because of the huge income that this lawyer is bringing in. However, because of this stroke that led to dementia, all these things became a burden for her because she cannot touch his assets, but have to somehow pay off $12,000 per month in interest expense and $8,000 a month in psychiatric treatment alone. So $20,000 per month. Where is anyone going to find that amount if they have not been working and does not have a lot of savings, right? Remember, even the most basic bank account the law firm partner has is frozen. The only thing that she can access is their joint account, right? Which probably not a lot of money in there anyway, right? So she also cannot sell the house because under the joint name, you need the power of the spouse as well. So the only thing that she can do now is to apply to court to be a deputy for her husband, right? And because of this, right, it takes about 1 year or so for her to attain the, access to this funds that the lawyer has saved up, all right? And not all the funds also, all right, only some certain bank accounts that is allowing them to tide through all these expenses, right? And at the same time, right, she has to also borrow money because the joint account didn't last them very long, right? And they really need to find money to pay off $20,000 in expenses. So really a very stressful time for the housewife, right? For this lawyer's wife over here, right? So with all these, right, is that it's very important that we also need to think about our our descendants as well, right? So for this mom, right, no matter what age you are, right, your son will be a very valuable individual to you, right? You really will not like just leave him alone, things like that. So even if your son gets dementia, you will still want to take care of your son, right? And this is how family ties are like, and it goes to show that we will never abandon a family member. But what if financial cost becomes a burden to us, like just now in our lawyer's example, right? Really quite tough for anyone to be in that situation. So that's why we have to pre-plan, all right, to protect our interests. We really need to start thinking a lot about how to then take care of our long-term needs, just in case something happens to us. And in fact, the chances are really very high, okay, as we will know later on. So there are 3 things to take care of. First thing is LPA, all right, lasting power of attorney. If you somehow wake up being physically or mentally incapacitated, you cannot make your own decisions anymore. That's when you need somebody to take care of your health and also your wealth. For wills, all right, upon passing, and in this case, forget to wake up, huh? So you need to distribute your assets. How to do it and in what logic? This is what we'll need to plan for. And for trust is that, for some of you with, much, much younger children, you're also worried if, let's say, your wife or your spouse in general cannot manage money that well, how then do we still take care of them, all right? Give them constant flows of income, all right? When you're already gone. So this is the trust. Now, dementia, right, is one of the most common, illnesses that actually activates the LPA. All right, there are many other ways to do, many other, I guess, illnesses that results in LPA being touched upon, but dementia is really, really one of the highest in this case. So 1 out of 10 Singaporeans above age 60 suffers from dementia, all right, and of course the numbers are expected to rise as we can see from certain trends in this case, and usually most of the time caused by Alzheimer's diseases, right? And it's very, very easy to get dementia. Even just a blunt impact on the head may also lead to dementia, right? So it's not just old people that gets dementia, right? This individual here, 48 years old, and he already has dementia. So it is really not surprising, okay? Maybe because we rely on technology too much these days, right? We place our phone numbers in our phone, we put all our events on calendars, which obviously we have too many things and we cannot remember all of them. So we place them in the calendar, very understandable. But, try out this activity with me. Can you actually name 5 handphone numbers, right, for other people off the top of your head right now, right? Upon hearing this question, can you, remember at least 5 numbers? I suppose it's quite difficult, right? And because of this, maybe we will get dementia pretty quickly, right? So yeah, do take note about this. So what happens then if we lose our memory? So who can then be the ones to make decisions for us? Who would you trust to do so for us, right? So for example, in this case, right, Madam Nelly Huang, right, she's quite an elderly lady, okay? So the story goes that this 94-year-old woman, right, suffers from mild dementia and all her financial assets are frozen, including her bank accounts, all right? So even just the moment you're diagnosed with mild dementia, that's it, you cannot touch your bank accounts. So she cannot open, she also cannot close. And then she decided to, okay, I want to go sue OCBC. Like, wow, very big with this OCBC. Why you don't want to give me my money, right? I want to close my bank account, so cannot, right? So she sued OCBC, and this legal battle ensued for about 18 months, right? And the bank was right not to release the money because it's a big amount of money, cannot anyhow just release, right? What if she cannot scam because she's dementia, not very, very sharp anymore, then get scammed with such a huge amount of money, right? So the bank is right to not release the amounts to her. And unfortunately, she passed away before she can even withdraw her money. And this is why we need an LPA, right? To have somebody act in our capacity when we are unable to do so, right? Singapore's law is really very strict when it comes to money, okay? And of course, at the same time, the moment, right, you are mentally incapacitated, everybody will be there to be your best friend, all right? They will want to have control over your wealth, all right? So in this case, right, is that let's say if you're really very rich and whoever becomes your deputy has power over your money. They can actually take your money and use it for however they please. But of course, in your something that benefits you, of course, something that is in your something that keeps you going, right? However, they can still use that money, subtly here and there. No one knows as well. So do choose somebody that you can trust. Okay, so what is LPA? All right. What powers does a donee have? Okay, so the first of all would be personal welfare. All right, things like where you should live day to day. Okay, so let's say you go to nursing home or what, this kind of things like, yeah, and what to wear, what to eat. Who can, whatever meals that you have. Who can see you, who cannot see you, and then most importantly, your healthcare and medical treatment considerations. Okay, so another portion of the LPA powers, okay, would be wealth. So this is a very, very big thing. They can touch everything that has financial value, right? So your property, your bank, your CPF, but they cannot nominate your CPF lah, huh? But they can, you know, touch your CPF money, right? They can also talk about the, you know, touch your expenses and then get you anything that you need lah. All right. So how to then nominate a person that take care of your health? So this person must really know you quite well lah, your preferences, you know, what you want to do on a day-to-day basis, things like that, what you like to eat. So, you know, for example, let's say imagine I'm married now, okay, and I have a son and you know he's grown up already, he study overseas, he migrate overseas some more, he's not coming back. And then 20 years later, okay, unfortunately, I became a vegetarian also, which I don't think I will, but let's say I become a vegetarian and also become a vegetable, right? I'm in coma right now, right? Then son is not aware of my change to become a vegetarian. And then he give me wagyu lah, he give me eat omakase or caviar, things like that. Wow, when I eat, the more I eat, the more I cry, the more tears that flow out, right? And my son thinks that, wow, my dad is touched because I give him all this good food. But actually, no, because vegetarian now, yeah. So that's why it's important to know somebody, to have somebody to know your preferences, right? And for management of wealth, okay, this person, you know, hopefully, is a little bit wealthier as well, so that he is not eyeing on your wealth lah. But of course, if it's children, to dominate children as your donee, that one, I guess it's only right to do so, even if they're not wealthy lah. They'll still take care of you, I suppose. So, more importantly, right, this story is a very famous one that has, you know, sparked a lot of debate across Singapore, right? So this Chinese tour guide, Yang Yin, right, he cheated this Singapore lady, right, of 1.1 million, all right, because he became her LPA, right? This lady loved him so much, made him his godson, made him his made him her donee, right? And then he can touch any asset that she has, right? So he brought his family over, buy car, open agency, things like that. So many things that an LPA can do is really quite scary. So choose someone whom you can really, really trust. So who can be a donee? All right. The donee has to be above 21 years old, all right, legal age to be an adult. Must be financially sound, obviously. However, they need not be blood related to you. Okay. So you can be a very good friend of yours. If you really have no one to entrust your health and wealth to lah. Okay, but please be very careful on choosing who is it. Alternatively, you can also, you know, hire a professional donee, all right? But of course, this comes at a pretty high cost. So do take note about that. So, you know, I have this case of a client, right? That asked me, hey, what if I have one son, one daughter? Then how, you know, how can I really plan for this? So, you know, she was sharing with me her daughter is this way, right? So daughter, she feels that knows the parents best there, right? They know what the parents want, what food they like, things like that, right? But they don't really have a concept for money. So for this daughter, she's very willing to pay $8 for Starbucks on GrabFood with $5 delivery fee and $13 for just a cup of coffee that by the time comes here already, you know, the ice and the coffee already separated already. Yeah. So, you know, this client say that every day nag non-stop at this girl, and then next time she you know thought that she knows the lesson already, but no, next time she go and buy 2 Starbucks cups, right, above $15 so that you get free delivery. Wow, so you just want to spend more lah, right? Yeah, say that Koko want the Starbucks, but actually no, the Koko never say he wants. Yeah. Then the son, okay, usually quite frugal, all right, quite good with controlling money, right, and knows a lot about finance and investments. So even like how his shopping habits, right, say must search the entire Orchard Road just to find one underwear, right? So in this case, right, she was quite worried that what if this child, right, choose the cheapest nursing home for her, right? Then how? Not very nice, ma. The daughter will definitely put her in the best nursing home, right? And the son maybe not really, you know, we just choose the lowest, you know, nursing home to save money more, lah, right? So then who to manage health and wealth? So in this case, for example, right, it will be all right if you leave daughter for health and son for wealth. However, if it's a very specific idea in your will that you want to, split your assets with, for example, you want your house to go to your daughter, right? Because you want a daughter to at least have a house, you can stay there, right? And for son, maybe can manage investments well, so you give your stocks to your stocks and cash to the son, right? But what if one day your medical bills need money, right? And somehow not enough money, or like it had to touch upon the amount that you have set aside for your children, right? So now the son is the one that's managing your finances. So what do you think he will do with either the house or the cash and investments? Which one will he sell first? So obviously he will sell the house first, right? Because the house is not real to him. He has the ability to touch the house, right? So if that's the case, right, you must really indicate in the LPA that you will not want him to touch the house. Because if he touches the house, he sells the house, convert everything to cash, right? Then your daughter is left with nothing. Even in the event that you do not need to sell the house, the son can still sell the house and leave everything in cash for himself. Because in the will, which cannot be changed anymore upon mental incapacitation, the will states that cash and finances all go to the son. So we have to be very, very careful when it comes to planning, right? So it's very advisable for you to have your financial consultant or estate planner to really plan this well with you. Okay. So for lasting power of attorney, just to see the form, how it really works. Okay. So as you can see here, personal welfare and property and affairs, all the things that I have mentioned just now, right? So how to fill this form, which is this is a physical form, but they have now shifted online. So it looks very similar to this. So donor, which is yourself, right? The one writing this LPA first, okay? So simply fill in your particulars, all right? Simple stuff. Same thing, donee also need particulars, okay? But more importantly, right, you will have to choose the power of this donee. So in this case, you can see, right, personal welfare, right, where your health, all right, as well as property and affairs, your wealth. So do you want to select one? Do you want to select two? Up to you, right? But the best here is that you have one main donee that really take care of both, right? So when this person want to put you in a private nursing home, for example, and he knows that you have the cash to do so, he can give you the best care out there, right? So best is to have both lah, all right? So you can choose up to two donees, all right? Two main donees. And in the ever event that any one of these donee cannot act anymore, or they choose to drop their doneeship, then your replacement donee comes in. All right. So you can choose how to replace these individuals. All right. So more complicated ones will be, for example, I have in this case my uncle and aunt. Of course, obviously for each other, for each other of them, right? They would name the other party as the main donee, and for me to be the next main donee, lah. Right? Very simple. So when it comes to replacement, right? They chose my cousin, right, to actually replace me only, because if I am gone, then he can come in to take the place, right? However, if my aunt, let's say my for this uncle, right, and the aunt goes first, right? If my cousin comes up, right, and then we don't see eye to eye, there's a lot of problems, right? So the replacement is only if I'm gone, right? So this is something that we can, think about the difficulties and the complications with your estate planner. Okay, so very importantly, right, personal welfare over here, okay, your health, obviously please tick yes, because otherwise if you put no, and let's say for example COVID vaccine, right, how then can anyone make a decision for you? You must apply for court order to even just take the COVID vaccine. So obviously in this case, just put yes, right? Whatever surgery, operation, medical stuff, just put yes, because the approval will be very long, very tedious, and you might not last throughout. Like, what if gonna COVID, then let it just go, right? Yeah, things like that. And of course, if you have more than one donee, which is two, okay, you can either choose jointly and severally or jointly. Okay, so jointly and severally is that either one of them can make a decision, all right? You need two together to make a decision, right? So this is usually better because let's say what if, let's say I have two sons, right? One of them go overseas and migrate overseas. Then how? He needs to come back to sign to make a decision for me if it's jointly lah, right? So it's best that it's severally so that any one of the sons can make a decision. However, jointly has also its benefits, right? That you have a double check to make sure that all the decisions made are sane, right? But of course, if you trust these people that you have selected, then just go for jointly and severally lah. Make their lives easier to take care of you. So the other part will be properties and affairs, your wealth. So will you allow your donees to sell your house? All right. Or specifically, if for one house you don't want to sell, right? Yeah, you can also do so. So usually this selling of house must be in your favor, in your benefit, so they cannot anyhow just sell, right? But if they really need to, they can, right? If to cover your medical bills and whatsoever, right? So if you put no, all right, you must be very careful. The only time where usually people will put yes is when first thing if you yourself want to take care of somebody. For example, a client of mine has an autistic child, and no matter what is the case, right, the house cannot be sold because the autistic child still needs a house, right? So no matter what, the house must be there and cannot be touched upon. And second case is that just like in my example about the one girl and one boy, right? The Starbucks loving girl. So in this case is that if the house is given and willed to a particular beneficiary, then make sure that that house cannot be sold under any circumstance under this LPA. But it can still be revoked. Let's say if really no money for medical treatment, then yes, you can actually sell this property through a court approval lah. Okay, but as best to really save a lot of trouble and disputes in the will later on, make sure that the house is not do not let the donee touch the house. Okay. And would you allow your donees to then sell your non-residential property and make gifts on your behalf? Really depends, okay? I personally would not suggest second option, which is that the donee is free to make whatever amount of gift that they want. So the thing is that some people tell me, hey, what if I want to give ang pao lah for your grandkids lah, or things like that. But the thing is that, okay, if your grandkids know that you have dementia, you cannot really think anymore, will they really blame you for not giving them their Chinese New Year ang pao? I probably don't think so. And the second thing here, right, is that if, for example, in the case that, okay, I got one son, one daughter lah. My son got kids, my daughter no kids, okay? And my son, okay, when the kids pass PSLE, you give them $10,000. Say, wow, son, Akong give you one, very, very good, your Akong. $10,000. Then after that, passing O level, give $100,000. Then maybe next time, passing the driving license, you give one Porsche. Wow, then next time get married, give one condo. Then that's very difficult. Yeah, the money will burn very fast. So must be very careful on this lah. Especially when daughter no kids, how to give gifts, right? Yeah. So option 2 usually not the best. Okay. But at the same time, option 3 is useful, especially when you want to remunerate your donees. Okay. So maybe in a case where the son is the main donee, right? And you want to at least reward the son in some way, at least to not say reward, but at least compensate him for the time and effort and money spent on you. So you give them maybe about $500 per month or $1,000 per month, right? As a form of remuneration. And this also helps to reduce family disputes. maybe the son's spouse might say that, hey, you're not the only child. Why are you the only one taking care of your dad? Right? Your sister never take care. So at least, with some remuneration, all right, your son can still reply, hey, at least my dad got pay me, right? I'm being tasked to do this. So out of piety, out of so-called contractual obligation, kind of that you are taking care, right? At least you're being remunerated in some way. So in this case, the gifts you can place in that value. Let's say if it's $1,000 a year, $1,000 a month, you can place in 12,000 in one calendar year. Okay, so at least to reduce family disputes. Personally, I do like option 3. All right, so that you can actually pay some token sum to your caretaker. All right, yeah. But of course, if you are if you have only one children, right, one child, right, then you don't really need this lah. Because I guess they are kind of needing to take care of you. But if you want to support your child, then yes, you provide them some income for taking care of you lah. Okay, yeah. Of course, jointly and severally will always be a good option. Okay, in very rare cases, would you choose jointly? So how then LPA works, right? So with advanced planning here, so we make an LPA, you yourself sign, you yourself fill in all the information. You will send this form to the donees, all right, through OPG's website and through SingPass login. After that, right, you will need to set an appointment with the certificate issuer, right, whether it be a lawyer or a doctor, to sign and get them certified. Okay, then after that, your LPA will be submitted, and within 3 weeks, you will get your confirmation lah. Okay, so then you need to really choose who to take care of your health and wealth. So really do take note and start thinking right now the moment you have done with this video. And of course, once everything is done, you register with an LPA, all right, with the Office of Public Guardian. And of course, if without mental capacity, then the moment that happens, your donee will come in and make the decisions on your behalf. So by March this year, actually in the next 1 month, OPG actually charged a processing fee of $75 for Form 1 and $200 for Form 2. This is on top of the certificate issuers charges as well. Okay, so yeah, get it done soon. So what about LPA Form 2? There is actually a Form 2. So Form 1 is an MCQ. It's like you just tick the boxes. Form 2 will be essay writing. So you really write, but you need a lawyer to write it lah. Okay, you need a lawyer's language for sure, because it cannot be contestable. Okay, it really has to be very specific instruction and without any misinterpretation. Okay, yeah. So for example, in this case, yeah, some people say, hey, put masks, right? Put masks. A lot of times they like to wear facial masks, not the one that protects you from COVID. Okay, yeah, so things like that. But of course, the more you write, the more fees it becomes lah. Okay, every clause you write maybe extra $50. For example, one client of mine mentioned, wow, I want to take my dog to walk at the park at 9 o'clock. Must bring the dog out to walk. Then 10 a.m. I must do facial. 11 a.m. I must play mahjong with my friends. So wow, if every line you write like that, right, confirm your cost will be very high lah. Okay, so this one is like essay writing. You write very, very specific things, or maybe you want to have multiple donees, right? 3 or more. Then you have Form 2 lah. Okay, or if you want them to say, okay, I want to give very specific incomes to these donees, things like that. Okay. And what if, right, we are mentally incapacitated without an LPA? All right. So the thing here, right, is that first question that will be asked by the judge will be, what relationship do you have? Right. For example, okay, I am mentally incapacitated right now. My wife goes to the court, right, and asks, hey, can I get doneeship or deputyship for my husband? Then the court, right, will ask, hey, what relationship do you have with Elijah? So the reply will be like, oh, I am the wife, and then I want the power so that I can do things like, right? Yeah. So in that case, right, the court also asks any other family members with differing intentions or wishes. So what does this mean? Like any family member, anyone that is related to me can contest this LPA power, right? So my parents can fight, right? If my kids are above 21, can fight. My brothers and sisters, if I have can also fight. So up, down, and sideways, right? Anyone that is related to me directly can fight with my wife to say, hey, I don't allow her to have the power. Can, right? So imagine like moms usually want to take care of a child, and also the money is there especially if you have a lot of money, right? Everybody will be will fight to be the deputy of yours, right? So just to take note But a lot of times mothers want to take care of the child, the wife also want to take care of the husband. Then how to fight? Especially if the mom and the wife cannot see eye to eye, then very very sad. Okay. Now the court also asks, what kind of power do you want? All right. Of course, in the LPA form, you can actually have powers of health and wealth, and you can touch anything, all right. But of course, through a court, right, everything must go court order. If you want to withdraw money, let's say, okay, I want to withdraw $30,000 for my expenses this year, right? So you actually must go to the court and apply for this $30,000 to be taken out. Very mafan on every year you have to do that. Plus, you withdraw already, not enough, right? You want to ask some more, right? Wow, a lot more proving to do. Okay. And even you withdraw $30,000, that's not all. You must keep record every year. Right? Every time you do a transaction, you must record. You buy char kway teow from hawker center, you use the money, right? Also must record. Because can be audited by anybody at any time. Right? Yeah, of course, a few dollars people don't really go and fight you for it lah. But then if you have multiple char kway teows for over 365 days, that's going to be about $2,000, right? $2,000 is still a huge amount, and people will question, hey, where did $2,000 go? So it's very difficult to everyday write down what's your expenses, right? Yeah, so whoever's taking care of you when you do not have an LPA is very, very tiresome and very troubling for them lah. Okay. So LPA, all right, what's the difference between LPA and will? Some people think that they are same or serve the same purpose. No, very different. So LPA is when you IC WC going to die, when you want to die already but haven't died yet lah. Okay. The will is really you gone already, you really see already lah. Okay. So the LPA's donee's power, okay, while you're still alive, right, is still there, but the moment you are gone, right, that LPA's power is gone. Then the will kicks in. That's when the executor comes in. Okay, someone who executes the will for you. So estate planning here, right, is that it's really more than just these legal documents. Okay, all these things need planning. You need to create money for that. All right, and of course you must do it very fast lah. All right, these kind of things you will not know when kena accident one things like accidents, you can be very careful, but the people around you might not be very careful Sometimes you go on expressway, right, the very, very big truck pass by, right, the whole floor vibrate. If that vibration you can feel it, right? What's worse if that thing hits you? Sometimes just one wrong steering, right, and you're gone already. So very important, right? You can stay safe, other people might not stay safe around you. Right? So be very careful on that. Okay, so estate planning is really to pre-plan for all these emergencies. So a lot of times we have not written our will already. So a lot of Singaporeans are still dying intestate. So wealth distribution, how does it work? Okay, upon death, your estate is frozen. All right, no one can touch your estate anymore. So if we die intestate without a will, the person that is taking care of our estate will be called the administrator. But if you have a will, that person will be called an executor. So what does these two groups of people do? Okay, they actually consolidate all your assets. So you have many houses, you have stocks, you have everything else. They gather everything together. They maybe liquefy them or things like that, or they split your estate, your house up, for example, the shares. And then the thing is that they will use all this cash that they've gathered, right, to settle all the debts, loans, taxes, everything that must pay back one will pay back. Okay. Now, whatever assets that you have, okay, whatever remaining, they will try to gather into cash, okay, and then they will transfer all these cash or assets to your beneficiaries, right? So this is wealth distribution after passing. Right. So one phrase to leave off here will be 留爱不留债. Okay, we want to leave our love and not our debts behind. All right. So we really have a lot of things to consider. If not passing away, then that's it. The people around you needs to be prepared for that financially also. Right. There might be very heavy medical bills. For example, leukemia, right? I saw one of my clients uh bills, right? $64,000 per month. One tablet is $1,000, then plus GST lah. Okay. One pop is $1,000 for 2 times a day. Wow, very, very expensive lah. Okay. And nowadays, death also not very cheap lah. Okay. Sometimes people choose to burn iPhone, burn jewelry, burn COVID medicine. Sometimes I also got hear before. Yeah. So all these things need expenses one. Your final expenses all need to count in also. All right. And a lot of times we see in the news family disputes, like you see all those shop houses, right? Maybe along Marymount, for example, they're empty one. But last time maybe got people live there one. But maybe upon passing, right? Then people are disputing over that house for a very long time. That's why no one there one. Yeah. So a lot of family disputes that we have seen, even our late Prime Minister Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, right? His family also fight for his assets, right? So we really need to plan. Okay. So it's very important right, to really start and do not think that we are immune to all these fighting. Okay. So, for example, CHEONG here, okay, he has 2 sons and they are all fighting over for his assets. So the older brother, all right, has sued his younger brother, okay, and other shareholders, right, saying that, okay, they are forcing him to sell his shares at a very low price, things like that. Yeah. Why so? Yeah. And also at the same time, this same son sues the sister-in-law over this good class bungalow. Right? So many things, if you do not state carefully in the will how to plan it out, then a lot of fights will ensue. Right? A will will solve all these issues and the lawyers, all the lawyer fees can be saved as well. Okay. So on intestacy, right? Couples with no children, is quite a difficult situation if you do not have a will. So the first case is that what if both actually meet in a car accident and both pass away together? So in this case, right, is that if it's a combined accident in a car, there'll be a coroner's report. All right. They will see which individual has so-called passed away first. And even if it's just one split second difference, okay, let's say for example the wife goes off first, right? And the husband goes on later, like 1 second later. The entire assets of the wife will move to the husband estate, then split to whatever siblings that the hubby have. Right? So cannot be that in a car accident, the husband and wife try to strangle each other to see who died first, right? Cannot be ma. Yeah, so with a will, then you will not have all these problems, right? And also in the case that what if, right, they do not have siblings, they do not have anyone close to them, right? So only siblings are the niece and nephews, they don't count on, so they cannot have a claim on their estate. Only siblings or parents can claim in this case, right? So how then, who can claim, right? If the siblings go before them or they do not have siblings, all go government. So, you want your nephews and nieces to have a claim on your wealth, then you better start planning your will. Okay. For parents with a single child, usually not a big problem. Okay, this child will likely take care of the parents and likely inherit the parents' wealth. Okay. I know unless the parents don't want to leave anything for the child, okay, that's a bit hard. Or if divorced, okay, but in this case, it's the child that needs to write the will instead, because the child, if the parents are divorced, then the child, okay, upon passing, right, is 50-50, right? So if the child doesn't like the dad, or maybe the dad is not a very maybe cheated on the mom, right? Then the child will have to state 100% to the mom instead, right? So that the dad don't receive a single share. Okay, yeah. So for parents with a married child, this is actually quite a big issue. Okay, so there are a few scenarios that I've thought about. First one is that if the daughter in this case, right, is paralyzed, right, and the parents want to provide for her, and they are also afraid that if she inherits a huge amount of money, the husband later leave her lah, right? Just leave the wife and gets 50% of her shares, right, of all the assets that's left behind, if possible, right? And then no one will take care of the daughter. Well, that's one possible scenario. So how then do we plan on the intestacy, right? Do we go with a will to do a certain way of doing things, or we create a trust, for example, right? And also, let's say if these parents, right, they want to provide for an unborn grandchild's education, all right, before I mean after they pass, after they pass, but they want to create a fund for this grandchild, right? Maybe this lady is not even pregnant yet, but they just want to provide like education fund. Then you can do a trust, right? Because you cannot buy, let's say, an insurance policy or endowment policy for an unborn individual, the person that does not exist yet, cannot, right? So they can just start creating all these through a trust as well, all right? And then what if these parents also believe in fortune telling, and they think that, oh, I can be born into this same family with the same name. I want to leave money behind for these people, right? Rather than for myself, essentially, right? We can't reincarnate. So in this case, they can set in their trust, right, that okay, my money will only be paid out to this certain name, right? Yeah. So this is how we can actually leave money behind, right? Through a trust, for example. All right. And of course, parents with a young child, all right, it's very, very important to write a will and also or maybe do a trust lah. Okay. So first thing, right? If a child is less than 21 years old, and then you see in intestacy law, 50% go to spouse, 50% goes to kid. The wife cannot touch the money, right? Because let's say if you leave behind $10 million, the wife cannot touch her portion of 5 million yet, because none of the money can flow until the beneficiaries can be of age to receive the money. So, apart from $5,000 that the wife can receive, okay, she cannot touch anything else. Okay, it is that situated by the law that you can only withdraw up to $5,000 from the estate lah, the deceased estate. So then how to provide for the kids, right? How to provide for the kid. And the thing is that anything above $5,000, right, she must find 2 guarantors leh. So who is willing to be guarantors of 5 million for the child? Very hard to find lah, right? And of course, if you also leave such a huge amount for your wife, and the wife also let's say not say very savvy lah, then later get scammed, then everything is finished also, right? So it is then good, right? Maybe you want to create a trust, or you write a will to will 100% to your wife, and the wife has to purchase, let's say, a distribution investment or distribution policy, right? Such that she gets yearly income, and she, it's not a huge amount right on her straight away, and they can provide for a lifetime. This is one example, okay? The second situation, for example, right, is that let's say you're very, very rich, and I like to say this to my clients lah. Sometimes when you expire, right, your child really retire lah. If you are very, very rich, they also don't want to work later on. Okay, so that's how the word 死北后 came about lah. Right, die father good. Why? Because the father die already, then they can retire mah. Right, they inherit everything that the father has. So if you want that to happen, then maybe that's through the will lah. If you leave 50% of your money for your child, who doesn't know how to manage finances, or really very lazy, then that's something wrong also lah. Maybe you leave all to your wife instead. Yeah. So that's through a will, or maybe you can set a trust that you can pay out slowly to your child. Yeah. So one question that I have for you guys would be that, do you remember the names of your grandparents, all four of them? Most of the time, yes, you can remember their faces, you know their age, you roughly, I mean, you do know your surname, and of course, you may know one or two of their names, but probably not all four. And why so is because they never leave money for you, lah, right? So if they leave money for you, every time got the trust, right, pays out money to you, you will confirm remember their names, right? In fact, you will tell your children also that, hey, wow, my akong give me this money, wow, you must remember him, it's very, very good. So even fourth generation also remember you one. And this is only, done through a trust. Okay? Yeah. So my job here, right, is very simple. The ultimate message here is that you use your money to take care of your body, right? This is the most important concept because let's say in LPA, right, something happens to you, you cannot take care of yourself, you need somebody to take care of you, right? Then it is not fair to say, hey, you use your money to take care of my body. Not possible, people will give you the worst care possible. So if you want the best care out there, right, that you can afford, you create income for yourself, right, to then take care of your medical expenses and whatever needs you have. And that is why here insurance is important to create that lump sum and then later on to pay out, right, as the accumulation income to take care of your body. All right. So to wrap up this whole presentation, okay, if you forget to wake up, there are many things to worry about. Your dependents' needs, your surviving spouse, kids, your loans, your expenses, your legal fees, whatever there is, right? So with estate planning, all right, it creates a lot of hassle-free processes for yourself. It gives you, straight away your money gets transferred very well. Whoever you want to have whoever you want to give your money to, they receive it, all right? It maintains your estate, it creates more free money for you essentially, right? And making sure that your beneficiaries receive the money fast. And what you'll be transferring will be wealth and hopefully no debts. Okay. So I always also share with my clients this Chinese poem that I created myself, but in Hokkien, right? If I may just say is that 水车车为老嘅，起囝无起白. Basically, water flows down from the top to the bottom, right? Like a waterfall. Usually, the parents take care of the children, but the children don't really take care of the parents. Okay, whether be it, filial piety that is not there, or maybe the parents just don't want to burden the kids, right? Just like water, all right? We need to take care of ourselves. As parents or, as any individual, we just need to take care of ourselves first and not have this burden befall on others. All right. So what's the cost of preparation and results? Okay. So if you do not prepare, okay, let's say for the time where you are deceased, then it will take more than 3 months to actually get the grant of probate and at least $3,000 for that grant of probate. You go to a lawyer for sure. And let's say you have some stocks that is in some foreign brokerage or some money located elsewhere, right? People don't know about that. And if they don't know about that, they cannot claim it also. The lawyer will only send letters to banks and reputable institutions. They don't send to every single one. In fact, when you do not have a schedule of assets, the lawyer send one email to one bank, right? Cost $50. They send to many different banks, you also pay a lot of money. Okay, so it's good to start creating a schedule of assets, start planning for your will. All right. However, of course, with preparation, it only takes 1 hour to go through with a will writer and only $300 to write a simple will. Right. So a lot of hassle saved for the people around you. And of course, with LPA, right, definitely more than 3 months to attain deputyship, all right, and $8,000 to fight for that right at least. And of course, even you have that doniship, right, okay, or the deputyship, you will not have all the power that you will want. You will still need to go for court approval to withdraw money, things like that. You must maintain records all the time. So even if you are the wife or even if you are the parent, right? or you're a child of the donor, right? You will still need to justify every single expense. That's really very tiring. You want to take care of someone you love and then you still have to, go through so much pain, right? And of course, with preparation, it's only, in fact, less than an hour, 10 minutes only with, the lawyer to certify your ticket, right? So to certify this LPA, right? And it costs $100. So start preparing, right? It's really very important. And you see, one is about price. A lot of people say, wow, I paid $400 right now. But this price that you're paying, right, is not equivalent to the value that of whatever you're doing. The value of whatever you're doing, right, is way more, right, than just $400. In fact, in this case, it's about a few months of time, and as well as $11,000 if you were to sum it up. All right. So a lot of times we cannot just look at the cost right now, but then ignore the cost later on. So ultimate question here will be that, will you trust me with your LPA? All right, thank you so much. And I hope this presentation, although it's long, and also with some of the content being very dry, hopefully that this has been very helpful with you in encouraging you to start, having your will and LPA done up quickly. All right, yeah, thank you.